Blame shifting. Blame shifting is a manipulation technique where a person avoids taking responsibility for their actions by redirecting fault onto someone else. Instead of acknowledging mistakes, they reframe situations so that the other person becomes the cause of the problem. This tactic is commonly used to protect the manipulator's ego, maintain control, and avoid consequences. In practice, blame shifting often sounds subtle. The manipulator may say things like, "You made me react this way," or "If you hadn't done that, I wouldn't have done this." These statements remove accountability and place emotional responsibility on the other person. Over time, the victim begins to internalize blame, even when they are not at fault. One of the most damaging aspects of blame shifting is how it distorts reality. Conflicts are no longer about solving issues, but about assigning fault. The manipulator never grows or changes because they never accept responsibility. Meanwhile, the victim becomes stuck in a cycle of self-doubt, constantly questioning whether they are the problem. Blame shifting is especially powerful in close relationships, where trust already exists. The manipulator relies on the victim's empathy and willingness to self-reflect. While self-reflection is healthy, excessive self-blame is not. When only one person is always wrong, the relationship becomes unbalanced. Recognizing blame shifting requires observing patterns, not isolated incidents. Everyone makes mistakes, but consistent refusal to accept responsibility is a red flag. Healthy relationships involve shared accountability, open discussion, and the ability to say, "I was wrong." Without that, blame shifting becomes a tool for control rather than communication. Playing the victim. Playing the victim is a manipulation tactic where someone portrays themselves as constantly harmed, misunderstood, or attacked, even when evidence suggests otherwise. This behavior is used to gain sympathy, avoid responsibility, and silence criticism. The manipulator positions themselves as emotionally fragile, so others feel guilty questioning them. This tactic works because empathy is a natural human response. When someone appears distressed, people instinctively want to help or protect them. Manipulators exploit this instinct by exaggerating their suffering or reframing situations to make themselves look like the injured party. Whenever accountability is requested, the manipulator responds with emotional distress. Instead of addressing the issue, they may cry, withdraw, or accuse others of being cruel. This shifts attention away from their behavior and onto their emotions. The original concern is never resolved. Over time, the real victim's needs disappear. They learn that speaking up leads to guilt, conflict, or emotional punishment. As a result, they stay silent, allowing unhealthy behavior to continue unchecked. A key indicator of this tactic is repetition. If someone is always the victim in every story and never acknowledges wrongdoing, manipulation may be involved. Genuine victims seek understanding and resolution, while manipulators seek sympathy and control. Mirroring. Mirroring is a manipulation technique where someone imitates another person's interests, values, beliefs, personality traits, or emotional responses to create rapid trust and connection. At first, this feels validating and comforting, as if you found someone who truly understands you. The manipulator carefully observes what you like, what you believe, and how you express yourself, then reflects it back. They may suddenly share the same opinions, hobbies, or life goals. This creates an illusion of deep compatibility and emotional safety. The danger of mirroring lies in its lack of authenticity. The connection is built on imitation rather than genuine similarity. Once trust is established, the manipulator may gradually stop mirroring, revealing contradictions or inconsistent behavior. This shift often leaves the victim confused, questioning what changed and blaming themselves for the distance. They may try harder to reconnect, giving the manipulator even more control. Healthy connections develop naturally over time and include differences. When someone instantly aligns with you on everything, especially early on, it's important to slow down and observe consistency. Authentic people don't need to copy others to be accepted. Love bombing. Love bombing is a manipulation tactic that involves overwhelming someone with excessive affection, attention, praise, or promises early in a relationship. The purpose is to create emotional dependency quickly, before trust has time to form naturally. This behavior often feels intense and exciting. The manipulator may express strong feelings very early, talk about long-term commitment, or constantly seek closeness. While affection itself is not harmful, love bombing is defined by its speed, intensity, and pressure. Once the victim becomes emotionally attached, the manipulator often changes. The affection may decrease or become conditional. Approval, attention, and kindness are given or withheld to influence behavior. This creates emotional instability. The victim may feel anxious, trying to regain the initial affection, unaware that it was a tool rather than genuine care. This cycle strengthens the manipulator's control. Healthy affection grows steadily and respects boundaries. Love bombing ignores boundaries and rushes emotional intimacy. True care does not demand immediate attachment or loyalty. Silent treatment. The silent treatment is a form of emotional manipulation where communication is deliberately withheld to punish, control, or intimidate another person. Instead of addressing issues openly, the manipulator withdraws emotionally and refuses to engage. This silence creates distress. The victim may feel anxious, confused, or desperate to fix the situation. Because no explanation is given, they often blame themselves, even without knowing what they did wrong. The silent treatment differs from healthy space. Healthy space is communicated and temporary. Silent treatment is unexplained, prolonged, and emotionally charged. Its purpose is not reflection, but control. Over time, this tactic conditions the victim to avoid conflict at all costs. They learn that expressing needs leads to emotional abandonment. Healthy communication requires openness. Silence should never be used as punishment or leverage. Guilt tripping. Guilt tripping is a manipulation technique where someone uses shame, obligation, or emotional pressure to control another person's choices. The manipulator frames boundaries as selfishness and independence as betrayal. Common guilt-tripping phrases include, "After everything I've done for you," or "If you really cared, you would do this." These statements are designed to override logic and trigger emotional compliance. Over time, the victim learns to prioritize the manipulator's feelings over their own needs. Saying no becomes emotionally painful, even when it's necessary. This tactic erodes autonomy and self-respect. Decisions are no longer based on choice, but on fear of guilt. Healthy relationships allow boundaries without punishment. Guilt should never be used as a control mechanism. Triangulation. Triangulation involves bringing a third person into a situation to create insecurity, jealousy, or competition. The manipulator uses comparisons or selective information to maintain power. They may say things like, "Someone else understands me better," or constantly reference another person to provoke reactions. This shifts focus away from direct communication. Triangulation creates confusion and prevents resolution. Instead of addressing issues directly, attention is divided and emotions are heightened. Victims may feel pressure to compete for approval or validation, strengthening the manipulator's influence. Healthy relationships rely on direct, honest communication. Introducing others to gain leverage is a clear manipulation tactic. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is a psychological manipulation technique that causes someone to doubt their own memory, perception, or reality. The manipulator denies facts, minimizes experiences, or rewrites events. Statements like "that never happened" or "you're overreacting" are common. Over time, the victim loses confidence in their own judgment. This tactic is especially damaging because it attacks a person's sense of truth. The victim may begin relying on the manipulator to define reality. Gaslighting is not disagreement. It is deliberate distortion designed to maintain control. Trusting your experiences and seeking outside perspectives are important defenses against gaslighting. Stonewalling. Stonewalling occurs when someone completely shuts down during communication. They refuse to respond, engage, or acknowledge concerns, effectively blocking resolution. This tactic sends a message that the other person's feelings do not matter. It creates emotional distance and unresolved conflict. Unlike taking a break to calm down, stonewalling is dismissive and prolonged. It avoids accountability rather than promoting understanding. Over time, the victim may stop expressing themselves altogether. Healthy communication requires participation, even during disagreement. Understanding manipulation techniques is not about blaming or diagnosing people. It's about protecting your mental clarity and emotional health. Awareness gives you power, boundaries give you safety, and knowledge helps you make informed decisions. If this video helped you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need this information. Comment below what topic you want explained next.